At the end of the day, the real takeaway should be reversal is not the thing that matters. The thing that matters is what we should be focusing on.
What? You want to reverse what's causing the problem.
That is conveying the right message, that what we're caring about is not just reversal of ASCVD, because what really matters is, are you going to die? Are you going to get another heart attack? Are you going to be able to walk up another flight of stairs? Not, did your absolute atheroma volume change by 0.1% or 2%?
Like,
that's not what matters.
Yeah, like it's conceivable that even with disease reversal, your risk of death could increase. So, like, who cares?
It's conceivable? Why are they doing this? Conceivable? Well, if you stretch your imagination, you could conceive it. But we're talking about the fact that reversing what has caused your increase of chance of death and given you a heart attack make you less likely to die. There's no scenario where having heart attacks is okay. You do want to reverse this stuff, and you can. Just about everything can be reversed. They should be talking about what does reverse it. What should people be doing? I am over here giving people a direction that can only benefit you. Maybe they're saying you shouldn't just rely on Esselstyn to cover all your bases. He doesn't just focus on diet as his therapy, also exercise and stress reduction. I think they got it covered. What else is there that people should be doing to prevent heart disease? CAD. One problem with this debate that came to me while looking at the comments coming in from people watching. People saying, this is way over my head, and stuff like that. And yes, this is a lot of techno talk. And you would have to have had Dr. Avi's training or gone to medical school to understand this. Well, let's assume that Avi and VeganGains understand this. And by listening to them, well, that doesn't sound very right, does it? We'd be taking the word of people because of our lack of understanding. We're going to revert to people who look like they understand what they're talking about, which brings me to another point. They might look like they understand what they're talking about, but how do we know what they're talking about is the big picture? They're just talking about what they're talking about. Their limited understanding. And everyone is limited in some way. Now, Dr. Avi, at the beginning of this discussion, gave a good impression to make himself look like he knows all and knows everything about what he's talking about. Like the part where he went through some acronyms he was going to use and showed what they all stand for. Do you remember how fast he was talking? Yeah, he knows these words backwards and forwards because he practices them. But of course, we don't know this stuff that well or at all. And he would know this, he should know this, and he should have spoken at least in normal speed. So doing it fast was like to show off. Post your comments below. I don't know Dr. Avi very well. Would you say that he is arrogant? I've got a video concerning him, but it's mostly Bart talking about him. And Bart has some other names for him, like Ass Monkey. How do we know anyone has the big picture? I've been talking about the big picture for many years now, and I don't think I ever really discussed what exactly that means and why it is so important. Because until you actually have the big picture, you cannot know the truth for sure. And look, here we are, these guys are debating claims that were made in the 90s and assumed by so many professionals that it was true. And now here comes this one guy who looks like he's in his 20s saying, oh, it's not true, according to the latest studies. There is a saying that I bring up every once in a while. This saying seems to have gone out of style, but it shouldn't. It goes like this. A little knowledge is dangerous. This is so important to understand. Now, I'm not saying that Avi or VeganGains have a little knowledge. I'm just relating that phenomenon because even people who are experts get trapped in this phenomenon. It's a phenomenon where people, they learn something, and we all see this with young people. They're learning a lot of stuff, and the learning of these big things about life is new to them, and so they're especially excited about it, and then they exaggerate in their mind how much they know. It overwhelms because You've just increased your knowledge percentage-wise by so much because you didn't have much before. And they don't realize that they only just have a little knowledge, and there's a lot more out there. It's dangerous because they don't realize it, and they think they know more than they do know. And there's also another saying, you don't know what you don't know. Avi is saying that Dr. Ornish and Esselstyn were missing something, right? That they didn't know something. And now I'm saying that's probably true for this guy. So I participated in the comments and mentioned what I'm mentioning here. And I got one response, and it was from Jasmine Gaines. I lost this comment, so I can't show it to you. She said something like, oh, yeah, but if people do understand fully the science, then what's the problem? And I said, that's just it. I doubt that people do understand fully. Also, you can make this stuff as complex as you want to the point of over-complexity, which I believe is happening in this realm because it gets into diet politics, because it involves veganism. And there is an agenda there, a blowback from the vegan movement. The elites out there who want to keep the status quo because change is bad for them. I should mention what the Ornish program is for reversing heart disease. Someone in their comments said, what was the diet they were on? And yes, I don't recall the two of them mentioning exactly what the program is. So for those of you that don't know, the key of the Ornish Esselstyn program that does the reversing is, for diet, it's the fact that the diet is very low in fat. And the idea is that that stimulates and that opens the door for the body to be able to get rid of that plaque and fix all the other things that it would need to get rid of to survive. And the body has these mechanisms. Also high in fruits and vegetables, very important. Exercise, that stimulates the body to strengthen the cardiovascular system. And the reduction of stress, well, that's a big topic that I know really well. I could go on too long. It's kind of like diet. When you get rid of the stress, then the body's mechanisms kick in for healing the damage that stress causes. I'm kind of going through a stress thing right now that I'll talk about later in the month, I guess. Now that I've described that, we can now see where people might be biased. And someone asked Dr. Avi in the comments there, we'll see that later in the video, why are you discussing this and trying to debunk the program? His answer was not important. It's the question. Yes, because in the question there, why would someone ask that question? That's the question. It's because, well, there's a lot of emotion and personal bias against a low-fat diet. Vegans included. I have a long history of dealing with vegans who just really don't want any talk about a low-fat diet. And VeganGains himself, he eats plenty of fat. One look at him. Fat seems to be one of the main things that gets people riled up.
At the end of the day, the real takeaway should be reversal is not the thing that matters. The thing that matters is what we should be focusing on.
You want to reverse what's causing the problem. What's the problem, Avi?
Okay, so I think that sums things up. Stupid Windows. I think that sums things up really well. So if you want to jump in the debate Discord,
sure.
Why don't we do that? So
right, in the waiting room?
Yeah, so there's the debate room. I think you can just join in.
Right now, if I'm wrong, I will right now say, hey, listen, I was wrong about this. But I have run this by experts. I don't see a refutation for this. I'm running it by everyone. And if I'm wrong, I'll be happy to admit I'm wrong. So if anyone thinks that they have a hole in what I'm saying right now, please explain it to me, and I'll be happy to listen.
Here I am.
And the message is not that I found a hole, necessarily. It's that there probably is a hole out there, and maybe found one day. And if we don't know of this hole at this time, your arteries don't care. The heart does not care if you haven't found a hole yet.
Yeah, I see some people in the chat right now saying that nobody's going to debate you. There's like no refutation. But we do want to see someone try to refute this.
I just wanted to ask a quick question. Does all of this mean that there is basically no way to clear your arteries of plaque once you have it?
No, that's not what it means. It just means that it hasn't been shown that this specific intervention reverses the plaque.
Yeah, so diet.
Okay. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? That guy on Discord there asking a question. He sounds familiar. That sounds like Bobby. No one's got an accent like that, except that wouldn't be Arnold Schwarzenegger. That guy's a major anti-vegan to the point of being a joke. But I don't know if it's him. Oh, but he has a follow-up question here, so here he is again. And Dr. Avi's response is something I want to respond to.
Okay, but basically, should we still keep using the whole food plant-based diet in the future or not?
Yes, absolutely. We should. And well, let me just say, when I say whole foods is a heuristic. It's not a law. There are certain things that are totally fine that are processed, like heavily processed, like protein powder is. So I would just say, yeah, just a vegan, a healthy, well-balanced vegan diet.
To give the advice to eat a well-balanced diet is a little reckless. When you consider, and he's on the internet, he knows that people have wildly differing ideas about what well-balanced is. Like VeganGains' idea of well-balanced is some oatmeal here, some nuts here, oil here. I'll throw in a piece of fruit every once in a while. And of course, I have a different idea. A good balance of different kinds of fruits, balanced throughout the day. Also, the idea of balance is really unscientific. No animal eats a balanced diet. When people think of balance, they think according to what people eat these days. But that's all out of balance from the start.